Every dropshipper has experienced the same exact thing. You test a product, you're super excited, you go to bed, wake up, and there's 0 sales. And every single time you ask yourself, what happened? What did I do wrong? What went wrong in general? Did I test the wrong product? Was it a bad store? Was it a bad ad? Did I use a bad strategy? Was my offer too expensive? Is my account shadow banned? Is my checkout working properly? You ask yourself all these questions, and in the end of the day, trust me, if you answer this question wrong, you will lose money forever. Well, this video is gonna be about how to analyze numbers. So let's say you test a product and it doesn't work. What do you do to determine what went wrong? Where specifically is your mistake? So in general, there's only 3 things to keep in mind. Number 1, the CPC. How much does it cost to get a person to your website? The second thing is the conversion rate. How many people from the people on the website actually buy? And number 3 is the average order value. How much money do the people spend on your website who already buy? If you get those 3 metrics on point, obviously you will make money. So those are the only things you need to aim for. However, there's one thing which might be very, very deceiving. You test a product, the cost per click is amazing. You get tons of traffic on your store, but nobody buys. And then you tell yourself, all right, there was tons of clicks, that means that people like the product, they like my ad, but my store sucked, and that's the problem which I have. So I need to change my store, or my offer, or something on the product page. But in reality, it was bad traffic. Low CPC is not always good. One good metric can actually result in another really bad one. It's always gonna be a thing where you need to balance things out. I've seen so many cases where I test an ad and it has amazing CPC and it doesn't work, but then I test another ad and it has bad CPC. So it's actually expensive to get people onto your store, but it's the right people. And the conversion rate just skyrockets. So keep in mind that on the surface, you're gonna see one thing, but it doesn't mean that it's actually the thing which you need to change. And a very similar thing happens with average order value and conversion rate. So let's say you just increase the price, double the amount. So you're selling from, instead of 20, for 40. And you look at your average order value and it also doubled because everybody now buys the more expensive product. However, at the same time, you have a drastic drop in the conversion rate. And the question you always need to ask yourself, was that change worth it? Did I actually make more profit in the end of the day because of the average order value? Or was it less profit because the conversion rate went to shit? In a nutshell, this is basically the entire act of analyzing the numbers. You just look at what is going up and down, and you basically balance it to the perfect numbers. Now, generally, to actually be able to do that, you need to know your numbers. So most dropshippers have no clue how to calculate their break-even points, how to do the profit tracking and all of those things in the beginning. It's actually so important to understand what your break-even point is, because that's the only way to determine when to kill ad sets and when to scale them. And it's also important to keep in mind that the average order value changes. Let's say your break-even point is $10, and now you did something on the average order value and the average order value doubled, and now your break-even point is much higher, but you kill the ad set still the same way as you did before. This is something I see so often. So as a rule of thumb, whenever you do a change and it improves or it goes down, you need to calculate the break-even again from that point. So after determining the break-even point, now another rule of thumb is always kill on the ad set level. Whenever you're killing anything in the ads manager, you're only allowed to kill on the ad set level. Never kill campaigns and never kill products. Kill ad sets. Because most people also do this wrong. Basically, they tested something and they're unprofitable. And instantly their first instinct is, I need to kill everything, shut everything down, move on. Big mistake, because if you look into the things which you're seeing, maybe you would have seen that 2 ad sets were super profitable, but everything else dragged it down, that it on the surface it looked unprofitable. And now you kill the product which literally would have been profitable if you killed all the 8 unprofitable ad sets. So now you're only left with 2, and those are obviously profitable. They keep being profitable, so you're profitable. So that's a very obvious thing, but most people do that wrong as well. This is something which you need to do on a micro level. What I just described here is finding a pocket audience which works. So for example, you have 10 ad sets, 2 of them works. What does that mean? A pocket, a specific group of people like your ad more, like your product more, like your store more. You need to determine that group. And the same thing goes for countries, genders, ages, whatever. Basically what you do is you make a breakdown. You look where you spent how much money. You look on Facebook, for example, how much money did I spend in Australia, Canada, and US? And you see, all right, in Canada, I've spent $20 and I only made $5. In the US, I spent $40 and I made $100. So this means that US is doing much better. And even though me saying this right now sounds super obvious, you don't do that. Most people in the beginning don't even get this idea of actually breaking things down and seeing what works, what doesn't. And now let's say you determined, all right, those 2 ad sets which had those interests work super well in the US only, and you break that down, and in US, you were super profitable on those 2 ad sets. You just create those 2 ad sets 10 more times and instantly you're profitable. Again, we had the same scenario, 2 profitable ad sets, 8 unprofitable ad sets. In one, you kill the product and that's it. And the second, you now have a winner. The difference is immense. The other concept, which is just crucial, is averages. And this is also something that for some reason, nobody actually understands. If let's say you have a product which is doing kind of good, and you see every time you test new interests, every 10 interests you find one interest which is doing good. Most people stop testing interest because they basically see that only 1 out of 10 is working. That's terrible. I lose money on 9 and I only make money on 1. That's not worth it. But what they don't understand is they lose money on 9 for 1 day and they make money on 1 forever. The difference is so much bigger. And literally, if you have that one ad set running on average longer than 9 days, you are profitable. This concept of averages, it's just so important. Try to think of this everywhere. Let's say you move to a new city and you go to a restaurant once and you see that that's a kind of good restaurant. And then you keep going there because that's the one you like. And then you tested another one and that one was bad. Then you tell yourself, all right, we only have this one good restaurant. Let me always go here. Instead of just having 9 shitty meals and then finding one which is the most amazing restaurant ever, and that one can go forever, the trade is just so good. But most people do not do this ever. But coming back to my initial point with a CPC and average order value and conversion rate averaging out, the overarching rule here, soft metrics by themselves don't matter. Just look at profits in specific pockets. So in countries, in ad sets, on platforms. So if you test Facebook and TikTok and Facebook works much better, there you look at the profit and stuff like that. And look at profits and not soft metrics. Let's say you test a product and it doesn't work. What should I actually do? How do I determine if it's a conversion rate, the CPC, or the average order value, which is truly the problem? And this is exactly why we've created this cheat sheet. This cheat sheet gives you the entire overview of what you could possibly test when the CPC is bad, when the conversion rate is bad, and when the average order value is bad. So this entire cheat sheet you're gonna get inside of my program. It's basically a program where we're just gonna constantly work together on optimizing everything. We're gonna just look at what you have and we're personally gonna tell you what is good, what is bad, what is working, what is not, what to change, etc. And one part of it is the entire overview of what to do in every scenario. You're basically gonna have a mind map which is just gonna guide you through every scenario which could possibly happen to make sure that you understand what to do in every scenario. So if you're interested in that, click the link below, sign up for a call with me, and we're gonna find out if you're actually a good fit for the program. If we both think you are, we're just gonna get started, and if no, then no. So talk to you soon.